Hello, Alex Lafkus here. I'm actually going to sit down and tie a small minnow pattern that we switched to on that big river streamer fishing video. It was a bright sunny day, so it was not great, so we had to make the best of it. What I'm going to tie now is a spruce fly. This is an old school, old traditional fly. I'm going to start with a Tiemco 9395 number 2. Not my favorite hook in the world, little heavy of gauge, but it's the right length shank for what I have, so we're going to go ahead and just use that. First thing I'm going to do is add just a little peacock curl tail here. The old traditional one was tied with red floss, so that's what we're going to tie this one in. I had no red floss that would work anymore the other day when I was tying, so I tied one with an orange body, which was the one we used to tie as well, and that seemed to work fine. But this is a pretty easy fly. It's just, something different. People don't fish any of this old stuff anymore, so whatever. Here we are. We're tying it. Still works. It's a just a feather wing streamer. The next product I'm going to use for the body is the red floss. So this is Unifloss, so I cut like 3 pieces off, rolled them together so that it doesn't take 10,000 wraps. First I'm going to tie in some ultra small copper wire too. I'll just put that out the back. And this fly actually looks just like a dace minnow. Those dace minnows just are kind of blah color, kind of like a tan, whatever. And then they have like a black line down the side, which is real obvious. I've been seeing 10 million of them lately. In every river I've fished, whenever I go over any type of weed bed. So we're gonna, I don't know. I've been having fun. I've done the trophy brown trout hunt for a lot of years, and this year it's actually been a ton of fun for me just to downsize and catch fish, see fish. I don't know, not treat brown trout fishing like musky fishing, because it's not. Which has made it actually a lot more fun for me this year too. So, I don't know, just mixing it up a little. I get my multiple months of chasing big ones too, and we've just been in this long drawn out summer. Seems like it won't stop. So next thing I do before I take the copper up is wrap this peacock curl thorax. There's a couple reasons you want to do the peacock curl thorax. I just keep the copper wire so I don't, this doesn't blow up. But I'm going to try to use this last chunk that I use for the tail. This will also keep that feather wing kind of popped up over the body of the hook, which will help it from wrapping around the hook. That's about the only thing you've got to worry about on this, is tying the tail's too long, which will make it, it'll foul on itself, and then it's a whirling disease minnow twisting, looks like junk. Real simple. Then I'll just take that copper wire up the hook shank. Oh yeah, perfect. Just to reinforce everything, because the teeth will get into that floss and chop it up a little bit. This is just copper colored brassy wire or whatever. That one I had yesterday ended up completely shredded, which is fine. There's my dull scissors again. So then when I tie in these wings, what we're going to use is a badger saddle, and that gives you that blah color with the black line in the middle. I'm going to use 2 feathers on each side, so I just kind of measure them up, You just can't go too long. You know, you got to kind of keep it right around hook shank length so it doesn't wrap. There you go. Like I said, little fly. You know, but I was remembering, like, you know, when I started doing this, would have been like a lot in the late 90s, yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. And, you know, I caught a lot of bigger fish on these small flies. And then we kind of got into the big fly stuff and just kind of ditched all this stuff. But, you know, I've caught a lot of really nice fish on these little flies, you know, 2-footers, you know, stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, they eat it. And I always feel like in that really low water environment that sometimes, you know, you go big, there's windows they eat the big fly. There's a lot of windows that smaller stuff works way better. There we go. So we're gonna just load that in there. There you go. That's basically it. We're gonna add a little hackle on the head too, you know, like the old flash, or like the old traditional style where you give it that little throat. I'm just gonna put a dab of Sally Hansen's on now. Try to lock those feathers in a little bit. Doesn't take much. Just get a little bit in there. Try to keep those feathers from getting too destroyed, because these flies will catch fish. So we're trying to make them last. The one advantage of using this heavier hook too, as much as I kind of don't love it, is that it does help sink the fly just a touch. You know, it's not a ton, it's just a touch. It's just enough weight to kind of sink it down. But we used to tie like some really small bucktails too. Well, one of my friends, Dennis Burke, did, and he caught a bunch of really, really big fish on them. So, no. Maybe I'll tie some of those at some point too. I just haven't. I just went back to the old traditional stuff. So then I'm just taking 2 more of these Badger saddles. I'm going to use 2 of them. And then hopefully I can get a few less wraps on there and still get the right length to make that collar look right. Just trim the tips back a little. Lay them in. I'm also just using 6/0 unithread on this too, because you're not putting any pressure really on this thread. There's no materials that are going to blow it up, so smaller does work better. We're just going to go ahead and wrap this stuff up. But we fished this, you know, we had one really bad day. I've had some rough days this fall. It's not uncommon for me to have rough days, especially when I'm fishing, because when I see the best conditions, I usually call a client to go, because, you know, I'm a guide and I enjoy watching clients catch nice fish, and I really hate charging money on days that are terrible fishing. So I try to make a point to, you know, work days I have conditions, then I go on junk days, and that's what you end up seeing me film. That being said, I don't mind it. It just makes you get a little creative, and you always learn something. So that's, you know, that's good. It helps as you're guiding to get out there and do a little bit and kind of see what you can learn and see what you can put together on those tough days, because that sort of stuff helps you when you are guiding. And I don't mind fishing tough days. I really don't. I don't need another picture holding a fish. I'd like to get you guys some footage of some cool fishing, but it'll happen. I'll get plenty of days eventually. I kind of crammed that eye a little bit. That's going to be fine. And that's it. That's a spruce fly. I'm just going to finish it off. Add a drop of thread. You know, in the other fly that we were moving fish on the other day, in the super low water, I actually had a client put it on because he got tired throwing the bigger stuff, was just a black ghost, like I tied in an earlier video too. And we moved some really, you know, 18 to 20 inch fish on it. So that's it. That's a spruce fly. Put a little drop of Sally Hansen's on there. It should be good. Feel free to comment and leave me some suggestions on anything else you guys would like to see. I will probably be doing a little bit of different stuff too. So, but yeah, let me know. Hope you like the video. Like, subscribe, and as always, yeah, leave some comments. I like getting suggestions, and hopefully I'm coming through on a bunch of that stuff. Thanks.